Welcome on into the fourth episode of the Heel Tactics podcast. I'm Christian, that's Michael, and we are in the aftermath of Night of Champions.
Yes, sir.
We're running straight into it.
All right, so before we get down to any reviews, any reactions, and any breakdowns of matches, we have to crown the inaugural champion of Heel Tactics Wrestling.
Inaugural.
So we had picked every match of the weekend, Smackdown title matches, Night of Champions matches, and Raw title, singular title match. And Christian worked me.
Blew you out of the water.
As it tends to go. Christian has this amazing mental breakdown of exactly how WWE's going to pull the trick on things. So, Christian, congratulations on my behalf. And you have the right now, sir, to hold the title.
I am the first champion. There's not really much spot to put it. I might film the episode like this. No. You can acknowledge me, though.
You can acknowledge him, and don't be shocked if we have a Roman Reigns type run here, because
1,000-day run incoming.
I tend to struggle when it comes. I guess I'm too logical with my thought process sometimes.
Oh, hey. This will be defended very soon.
Yes, it will.
Evolution, main event,
Saturday
Great American Bash,
Yep.
and All In.
All coming
Same
up.
weekend.
Yep.
Same defense, probably 30 matches.
Yeah, we've got a lot to break down on that side, but let's break down what we just witnessed this past weekend in WWE so that we can look forward to next week and what we got going on in the wonderful world we have of wrestling.
Break it down.
Break it down. All right, well, let's start off hot. Main event of Night of Champions.
John Cena versus CM Punk, presumably won last time.
Then Never Seen 17.
I went to the wrong set of matches. I just went to Nia Jax's match.
We had the greatest of all time versus the best in the world. Like you said, presumably for the last time. I will go ahead and say this much. If it truly was for the last time, which they, in terms of like social media side of things, I mean, commentary was saying it too, but like ESPN was posting stuff like 25 years of rivalry or 17 years of rivalry, you know, some of the greatest matches they've ever had.
They overposted for this than they did for Cena Randy.
Yeah, they really amped it up like this was the last time we were going to get them.
Which makes you think we'll get Randy Cena again.
I hope so. But I will say this much. Going back to what we said about the Bayley-Becky match for the IC title, Punk and Cena had a good match. Punk and Cena as a rivalry is a top Cena rivalry of all time.
But I'm going to go ahead and finish this one for you. Punk and Cena, the ending was horrible.
That match deserved to have a clean finish.
I threw this one out there for some match recently. Another one. We're just running back WrestleMania 40.
Yep.
Cody versus Roman. Bringing out everyone we possibly can bring out. They had to bring so many people overseas to Saudi just for... Like, Penta had to come over to come out and do one thing. Why are we seeing Penta during the end of Punk Cena?
I get what they were trying to do in terms of Penta and Sammy, because we had the follow-up on Raw of the Fallout. But my biggest one was, if you're bringing all these people out and you know he's in Saudi because he was there for SmackDown, why didn't LA Knight come out?
Exactly.
That made no sense to me. Plus, going back a couple weeks when LA Knight got in the ring with Cena, Randy, and Cody, giving that whole, could we possibly get an LA Knight challenging Cena eventually on this retirement run? That would have been a great way to interject and have him involved.
During Cena's last run, they were a tag team. So
the match was good. I liked, personally, I
didn't think it was great, simply because they let CM Punk kick out of like 4 AAs.
Absolutely. And it was like, it was almost deja vu-ish, because every time Cena hit the AAA, it was basically in the same spot of the ring, and it was always the same camera angle. And I was like, he ain't gonna kick out. And then boom,
there was one that was like so clean. I think Punk went for like the GTS, and then they reversed, and they kept looping around each other going for moves, and then Cena just picks him up and does it. Yeah. And I was like, okay, that's the match. Great ending to a pretty decent match. And then the match goes on for another 10 minutes. But I'll run through the interferences in order. Seth Rollins came out when the ref got knocked out. I'm fine with that. That makes sense.
Money in the Bank. Yeah, makes sense.
But then the Bronson and Braun connection come out. B&B security, as some people say. And then they start fighting CM Punk. They go to put him through the table, and it's horrible because neither of them go to pick him up at the same time. So
it was
falls
a rough
through the table.
Mm-hmm.
And then another ref. I liked this spot. Charles Robinson, the ref, starts running down the ring, and then Cena absolutely tackles
obliterated him,
kills him.
It was awesome.
So no cash in. That's where all of it should have ended.
Mm-hmm.
AA to Seth Rollins. Fine. That's where that should have ended.
I liked their talk, though. When Cena and Seth were in the ring, and Seth was like, "You were just dead." He's like, "I'm alive now." He said, "Well, this doesn't involve you." So he said, "All of this involves me. Like, this is my match you're messing up here." So I like their little argument they had in the middle of the ring.
And then the Brawns come out, start beating down Cena, and then Penta comes out, fails to drop Braun Breaker. And then Sammy comes out to help Penta. I literally wrote down, where's LA Knight if we're going to bring out this many people?
I was shocked we didn't get Jay.
Penta jumps off the stage onto Braun and Sammy because he's got to be caught. Then we go back to the ring, and Punk stopped a tsunami, and then Cena picks him up and does an AA. So a little John Cena CM Punk team up. So then they're back to a 1v1. They go to shake hands. They hug.
We get that good old Cena.
You know,
look.
it was almost... I like how they still went with it with Cena staying heel. But if that was like he's a good guy now, I wouldn't have even been upset. Even though we just talked about how I love the heel run, just seeing Punk and Cena hug was nice.
Yeah, as I've been on record multiple weeks now, I thought Punk would be the guy to turn him face.
Because I'm your only friend.
I don't think that moment could have been like the culmination of, Cena's a face again.
But on top of the fans were cheering Cena, everybody was happy for Cena.
Yes.
And with Cena... It felt weird to have Cena sit there and fight off bad guys. Like, fight off Seth's group.
Yeah.
Because it felt like, this is really niche. Cena kind of feels like Storm Shadow.
Okay.
Like, he helps Snake Eyes, but Storm Shadow ultimately still is not fully ready to go to the good side.
Yeah.
Like, that's what that whole... I don't know why that's who I thought about.
We'll roll with it.
But, like, he's still heel, but he wants to be face, but at the same time, he won't let himself be face.
He's just a conundrum of emotion right now because everyone knows what Cena should be. Everyone knows what they want Cena to be. Mm-hmm. But it's like we were saying last week. Like, after the promo, the pipe bomb ripoff that he cut, it should be perfectly fine with everyone that he is a heel right now.
But now hearing how the fans love him, he's playing into it.
Yeah, but I'll also say in terms of fan interaction, because they were in Saudi, literally anyone could have walked out and gotten a major ovation. So I don't want to use the crowd reactions to necessarily gauge the reactions, but
still,
they still have pop.
It's still happening.
Yeah.
And honestly, you remember how what was it called? Tribal Court or whatever with Sammy and Cena? Yeah. That was like the entire first hour of Raw.
Which was awesome, yeah.
I hope if this keeps going and John Cena still just becomes keeps staying on this path of just being like the most complex emotional character ever, we at some point get a Cena promo that legit lasts for an hour.
That'd be sick.
And like it's just like so much stuff being poured out onto the mic and like so many emotions, and by the end of it, who knows?
Who knows where everybody lays with how he puts it out there. Yeah, that would be cool. I wouldn't mind seeing that at all. It's no different than when I was watching Raw. I was sitting there and I was like, what match are we on when we're getting to the main event? And it was only like the fourth match, but I was like 2 hours into the show and I was like,
yeah.
So we've had a lot of backstage talk. You could literally cut all that, trim a lot of the fat out, and just give us Cena, like you're saying, 45 minutes even, just in the ring.
You know, it doesn't have to be an hour,
talking,
but like a really
nonstop,
long...
no one interrupting, just let him fly. That'd be cool, for sure. But overall...
I mean, they do the hug and the handshake and stuff, and then... Punk goes for a GTS, I think.
Cena went to yank him into another move.
And then Punk hits the GTS, but then Seth stomps Punk. Cena gets up and throws I don't know why I wrote Punk here, but he threw Seth out of the ring and pinned Punk.
Pinned him.
One,
Pinned
two,
Punk.
three.
Not off his own finisher.
Off of the
because
stomp.
he couldn't finish him at all with the AA all night long.
For real.
Took Bronson Reed out in one move, but couldn't touch CM Punk with it. But in the world of wrestling nowadays, finishers aren't what they should be.
Yeah.
A finisher should be a finisher. I get in like a super, super high, tough situation like, okay, we'll use WrestleMania with Cody and Roman, for example. Cody had to hit Roman with 3 crossroads to beat him. I'm fine with that because Roman Reigns lost nothing
was unbeatable for ages.
Years. But in terms of you hit him with 4 AAs across the whole match and he kicks out of every single time. It's
2 is okay.
Yeah, a couple's all
3, I'm already done with it.
Especially if
4
they're
is
early in the
excessive.
match. Because
Early in the match, yeah, Punk's not worn out.
he's not worn out, yeah.
The only finisher that should end the match in one move is the RKO. But
which didn't happen. But yeah.
no, but
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. The RKO, I hold in a very high regard, not just because it's Randy. The move itself, should be the penultimate
ultimately
finisher.
Cena fireman's carry and drops you on your back.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Literally. But it's his finisher.
I kind of wish he would. He did it a lot during the match, but like start finishing stuff with the STF.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be cool.
If the AA is going to become a move that gets kicked out of, then let Cena start doing a submission.
When they first brought Roman back, before he was even tribal chief, he ended almost every match by putting him in the Kimura lock. Yeah, or the guillotine. Yeah, just locking him up and making him tap or pass out.
It got to the point where, now we have fans here. The fans want to see
exactly
the spear and the Superman punch.
For sure. For sure.
Even though the guillotine's sick.
Sick, yeah. Start choking him out and it's over. But overall, solid match.
All right match.
I can agree with that, but the ending really
just felt sloppy.
It just felt way too much. Like you're trying to give the Saudi fans way too much. It's
interjecting a completely different storyline into it just for the sake of doing it. When it didn't, like the Penta and Sammy versus Seth's group doesn't need that stage for their build.
Agreed.
They've built on every Raw and SmackDown since Money in the Bank.
I get you're not going to bring Seth out without his crew, but at the same time, I would have been okay if just Seth came out, didn't successfully cash in, but it turned into the same scenario where they teamed up on Seth, they throw him out, they have the handshake moment.
Or you can just have Seth come out and send the Brawns first and have Cena and Punk successfully fight off the Brawns.
Like a tag match, basically.
And then Seth go to get involved and then Cena and Punk 2-on-1 him.
Yeah.
And then they get back to their match.
Could have been done better just because Cena should be your priority 1 right now, story-wise. Especially because we had already crowned the King and Queen of the Rings, which they had been their priority for most of the time since Money in the Bank. But he's your main event. Him and Punk legitimately have so many years of history. Like, this should be that ultimate moment. And I get it, they're older. I get it, they're not as amazing in the ring as they used to be, I guess you could say. I still think they can both go fine.
I mean, watch the Hell in a Cell match. There's no question about Punk.
But you didn't need to sour that rivalry with 6 other guys coming in the ring.
Yeah. It's the same thing about, like, R-Truth getting involved in the end of Randy Orton.
Agreed. Agreed.
But whereas Randy and Cena might still run it back, I don't think we're getting Punk Cena again.
Probably not. All right, so you had Cena. I had Cena in that match. We were both correct there.
And there's nothing else to talk about for that one because we haven't seen Cena since.
Exactly. We've seen the other 2 main factors in that match, but we'll talk about them later on Raw. Let's move forward. Let's keep it with, we had the world title, so we'll go to U.S. title. We had Jacob Solo. Good match.
Great match.
Yeah, they were on it in the ring. Both guys were on point.
People need to realize that Solo Sikoa can go.
Oh, yeah. Solo can go. We all know Jacob can go. I felt like Solo, this may be, I can't remember every match Solo has had because there was a run at one point towards the end of Roman's run where Solo was basically the one-man wrecking crew. He'll be the guy who's fighting in the main event to represent the bloodline.
Yeah.
If the Usos or Jimmy isn't there or whatever, if Jay had already broken off. But I felt like this was like one of those moments, like Solo, you are a top guy.
Yeah, I'd say
Here's
this
your moment.
and probably beating Cena.
Yeah, agreed. Which at the time, people's outlook on Cena was more of the washed up, this guy needs to retire look.
But this is the manner of
versus-
how he beat him.
Yeah.
With like 6 spikes.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, he pinned Cody, but then he lost to Cody 3 times in a row after some crap.
I just feel like this was that moment where it was like you were saying, people need to realize Solo can wrestle. Solo can cut a promo. Solo can... He's very good at doing whatever he's directed to do by the top guys. Be a baby Roman, he can be a baby Roman. Be a goofball, he can be a goofball. He can cover the bases for sure. He's got great in-ring ability.
He's got great in-ring character. Like how he kept doing like
doing this Jacob shake and all that.
And then he did it, and then Jacob
did it right behind him. Yeah, that was a good spot.
Here's what I'll say. People are always like, oh, Solo's trying to be baby Roman. Solo's this, Solo's that. Solo's the only guy who can do that.
Agreed.
Tell me somebody else who could be just like Roman.
Not Jay. Not Jimmy. Not Jacob. Jacob's got too much of his own charisma.
That's why it's Solo.
I don't think, in terms of where they are now, Solo's on Roman's level of charisma, but I think Solo has more charisma than Roman had in the beginning of his
If you really
career.
sit there and look at the path, though,
Yeah.
Roman started in NXT as a completely different character. Solo started in NXT as a completely different character. They get called up to factions. Roman's the silent one in the
silent
Shield.
big guy,
The
yeah.
silent big guy who's the least experienced. Solo was the silent big guy in the bloodline
With the
who
least
had the least
experience.
experience.
Yep, absolutely.
Roman tried to get over once they broke up. For ages, the fans wouldn't take
rejected it. Yep.
Solo's been getting pushed since the end of the bloodline.
Yep.
The fans
Fans are
still
rejecting
haven't
it.
taken it.
Yep.
It's eerily
They're
similar.
Pathed out very similar. Absolutely. But it's time, like you're saying, the world needs to at least give him his flowers. Like, you don't have to be a fan of him. In storyline, most people won't be a fan of him because I love Solo, but if you ask me if I would rather Jacob win a match or Solo win a match, I'll pick Jacob.
Not in that boat.
Yeah, you're not in that boat. I get it. But me personally, I like Jacob more. Still love Solo. I love almost anyone in the bloodline at this point.
Yeah.
But the world needs to give no different than Dom. The world hated Dom. Dom wins the IC strap, and they love him. Same thing should happen for Solo.
The problem is, I don't know if that's going to happen because he's still going to clearly be in the storyline with Jacob.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. He's still going to be the baby Roman running his bloodline. We'll
I don't
give
even,
Jacob
I
a
mean,
big
are they
gem.
even going to consider this the bloodline at this point? Like,
Well,
none of them are related.
3 of them.
None of them are related to the Solo family.
Yeah,
to
agreed.
The bloodline family.
Agreed. 3 of them are related. JC Mateo.
Well, Tama Tonga's not even back.
Yeah.
But JC did come out.
Yeah.
And then the GOAT, who did not botch his move, Tonga Loa
Yeah.
returns.
He had all the weight on his shoulders and he
he
delivered.
did it.
He delivered.
What do you think he's been training for?
Yeah,
This
exactly.
moment, a spinning neck breaker, the only move he hit.
So sick.
And Jacob kicked out.
Yep.
And then, well, I'll call him Hikuleo.
Yeah.
Came out to get Solo the win. Commentary did not know what to call this man.
No, and then they announced it later.
I
It's-
wrote, wait, is he Tala Tonga?
I think he's Tala Tonga. Yeah. Tama.
Because he's the
Tonga,
tallest one.
Tala Tonga and Tonga Loa.
Like, if you want to include the Tonga, he can be like Hikuleo
I was going to say Tonga, but that don't work either. No. I don't know how you can...
Hakatua.
Oh, no. I don't know how you could really incorporate his original name
Yeah, he should have
into
just
it.
kept his original name.
I don't disagree with that.
I don't like that they kept the Tongans' names, but changed JC's from Jeff Cobb and
Yeah.
about changed Hiculeo's. Here's what they said. That Michael Cole said, that's Tonga Loa. And then he stopped. Tama Tonga. Then he stopped again. Their brother.
Their brother.
And then Wade Barrett just called him an absolute freak.
That's awesome. I love Wade Barrett. Oh, yeah. No, I remember when Because he said Tonga Loa, and I said, yeah, we already saw him. And he said Tama Tonga, and I said, no, he's not here.
Their brother.
Their brother. I was like, oh, Cole has no idea what to call this man.
I think he was Hikuleo during the dark match, though.
So weird.
Yeah.
So weird.
Well, when Jeff Cobb first came out, they were like, "That's Jeff Cobb."
Yeah, he's the biggest free agent on the market or whatever. Yeah.
When Ricky Starks first debuted, they posted Ricky Starks is here, and they had to delete that post.
Yeah. It's odd
the
when
names
they do
are
the
starting
name
to get
change.
ridiculous.
I
At
don't
this
disagree.
point, so many people are known for their name, like Mariah May, Ricky Starks, Hikuleo, Jeff Cobb. It's okay if it's not a homegrown talent from NXT. It's okay to keep the name. WWE were kind of fine with it, and then now it seems like they're back to assigning random names. Like, Tala Tonga is one of the worst things.
But like something subtle like Ricky Starks versus Ricky Saints.
That's one's not that bad, but like Mariah May is
Brooke
Cole
something.
Like I can't even think of it.
Yeah,
because
it's not
my
her.
brain still thinks of her as Mariah May.
Agreed.
And even at that point, like I feel like they should have kept Rusev as Miro.
That would have been cool.
You brought Ty Dillinger back as Shawn Spears.
Yeah.
Bring Rusev back as Miro. I think Aleister Black becoming Aleister Black again's fine.
Yeah.
I think Malachi Black sounds cooler.
I don't hate it in a sense of, I'm going to keep it short, but I had a long conversation with someone about this. I feel like in terms of forget Hikuleo and forget Aleister and Rusev because they were immediately vaulted right on the main roster.
Yeah.
So let's keep it in the NXT range. When they bring a new talent in, because they've gotten over as that character, Samurai May.
Ethan Page.
To come in as he did get to come in as his name. And Ricky Starks being Ricky Saints. I almost feel like it's a test from WWE. Like, we know what you can do. We know your connection with the fans, how you got that connection. But can you do it our way?
Yeah.
So they're almost like breaking them down just to build them back
looking
up.
at Mariah May, the biggest free agent women signing.
Yeah.
A few months before, Julia and Stephanie Vaquer and Jordan Grace are all Julia, Stephanie Vaquer, and Jordan Grace.
Yeah. I don't know. At the end of the day,
it's confusing when they choose to change someone's name.
Yeah, like Jeff Cobb becoming JC Mateo. At least he's still JC, and most people are going to call him JC and not JC Mateo.
Jordan Devlin became JD McDonough.
JD McDonough. So it's like you're saying, it's odd when they pick and choose. I feel like anytime it's a bloodline member, you're better off just leaving them.
Here's the funny part about it. I'm going to assume they wanted to do it to make him a Tonga because he's brothers with the Tongans. Yeah. But Solo Sikoa is brothers with the Usos, and they never made his name Solo Uso or just Solo.
Yeah, for sure. It doesn't make much sense, but we've got off track a little bit. Let's get back to it. You had Solo. I had Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
I felt in the same breath as you that everyone was going to get involved. I didn't necessarily think, you said Hikuleo specifically could come out to save him if Solo needed more help.
You said the Tongans.
Yeah, I said the Tongans could come out because we hadn't seen him in forever. At some point, we needed him to get hurt. Back. I don't remember him getting hurt. I remember Tonga Loa getting hurt, and then Tama Tonga was there, and then it was just like
in the War Games where 3 people got hurt.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what's up with Tama Tonga, but still, we predicted a bloodline intervention. I expected it to result in a DQ on behalf of Solo. Yeah. And Jacob would have retained the belt, even if he got beat down. I was also shocked Big Jim wasn't there to come make the save, even though he would have gotten outnumbered anyways.
Yeah.
But you had the better call on the fact that they would actually propel Solo into the win instead of costing him the match, which plays more into that Baby Roman theory.
It just seemed like more the play so that you can get back to a Jacob Fatu pushing for the title.
Yeah, for sure. I like it.
And having him triumphantly beat Solo's a much better moment than just like nothing coming from it because Solo wasn't the US champion.
Yeah, retaining the belt over him. But yeah, overall, they both had a great showing. It was a good story in the ring. And then
the story's still probably going to go on for a good bit.
Yeah, bringing everyone out, introducing the main roster world to Hikuleo or Tala Tonga.
That's going to be...
Yeah. I don't know what we're going to do about that.
I've gotten so used to the Tongans just referring to 2 people.
Yeah.
Now it's 3.
But yeah, overall, It was probably my second favorite match
of Night of Champions.
Night of Champions.
Yeah, I'd say I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, it was just a really solid match through and through from start to finish. So
I want to go straight to what I'm going to assume it's yours. My favorite match of Night of Champions.
Go ahead.
Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez.
Agreed.
Banger.
Absolutely. They both went out there and they both did their thing.
I've said this since we pretty much started because that's when she decided to start. Raquel's really been putting in the work.
Agreed. Raquel's trying to make herself, and maybe it's, granted, we'd already done one episode before Liv got hurt, but it's almost like because she's not going to be cast in Liv's shadow, she's ready to vault herself back into that position where she first was when she came up.
And it's almost like how Finn said, he was like, I wanted you to stay a champion.
Yeah.
Now Raquel gets to kind of be the leader of the tag team.
So the match through and through was phenomenal.
So much innovation.
The only problem I had was because you had Roxanne make the save on Raw when Rhea went to drop Raquel through, I think it was a table on Raw. Roxanne made the save there. They hugged. Cool, whatever. It's almost like the acceptance of you can help me out.
Arm around the shoulder.
Yeah. There was no reason in Roxanne interfering
To try to help Raquel.
But you proved you could help last time. It's almost like...
But this time, Rhea got more of a chance to solo her off.
Agreed. I just feel like... I don't know, because even then on Raw, like following up the show, Raquel, the only time we saw them interact, Raquel didn't show like an appreciation, like, hey, thanks for trying to help me defeat Rhea. It was almost just like she played it off like Roxanne wasn't even there because it felt like Roxanne wasn't even there because her interference did nothing to help Raquel win the match or try to win the match because she didn't win the match.
Yeah.
But it just felt like, I feel like when they use people, and maybe it's because we're so conditioned now because of Bloodline interference. When Bloodline interfered, 9 times out of 10, it resulted in Roman retaining or the Usos retaining or whatever.
Think of the history of Judgment Day.
Oh,
the interference means you lose.
Agreed. On their behalf,
and you never see Dom being like, Finn, thanks for helping me lose.
Yeah, I agree to that. The arm around thing made me think Raquel was going to be more receptive.
But also to the same degree, it's like, hey, she's fine with helping, but out of nowhere, it's, hey, we're putting her in the Judgment Day and she's replacing Liv.
Yeah,
for Raquel, that can be a lot.
For sure.
I mean, Raquel's always been partners with Liv.
Yeah.
But as far as the actual match goes, some of these spots were just really creative.
Yeah,
like Rhea set up the top piece of the announce table on the barricade, and Raquel powerbombed her through it.
That was sick, yeah.
And they set up a table on the top ropes. Didn't break through it. Rhea stood on the table and brought Raquel up, and that thing was tilting like that. I'm crazy. So surprised that they stayed.
Yeah.
And successfully hit a riptide off of it onto the ring for the win.
In reality, it's no different than her hitting an avalanche riptide off the top rope.
But the balance, so much respect.
The moment of the spot, just adding the table, which one would think you have more foot space. You're better off. But
you're sitting there bouncing and
just
leaning.
Going up and down. I was like, this is... Please, Raquel, get up there to balance it. Because Rhea was pulling, trying to help pull her up, so she's putting a lot of weight on the back foot.
Yeah.
As she's pulling that table, just like...
And those tables break easily.
Oh, yeah. I was very worried when Rhea went up. I was like, okay, if she tries to get Raquel up there, that's a lot of weight on one spot. I feel like the table could just give down the middle. It didn't. It held, which resulted in a really cool spot.
Yeah, no, it was very impressive.
Which was the finish.
And Rhea did win, as I predicted.
I did not. I really thought Roxanne's interference, which we didn't get a Nikki moment.
Because, shockingly, to my surprise, they're not continuing this.
Yeah.
Rhea's going to the singles division to face Io.
Yeah.
As, I guess, the swerve or not a swerve. I don't really know. But we're back to the well. Rhea versus Io, I think it's going to probably happen at Evolution.
Yeah.
Safe pick.
Yeah.
Not exciting. No, like that to do that.
Oh, as a match. Yeah.
Is a safe pick.
Agreed.
It's not an exciting pick. We just got done with this feud.
You might be better off giving them like a stipulation or something just to get some juice behind
or
it. But
it should have been someone else or a triple threat.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see it be Raquel versus Rhea versus Io, but maybe they have some actual plans for the tag titles now.
So Rhea winning this match almost plays into what we were talking about. I think
having it be a
last
number
week.
one
Whoever
contendership.
won this match should say, "Hey, I want a shot at the title," which Rhea did on Raw, basically.
Well, Rhea was like, "What's next?" And then Io's came
like,
out and she's like, "I get to pick my opponent.
I want the best."
Why hasn't she been doing this already? She hasn't defended since Mania, pretty much.
Yeah.
I want to face you.
Yeah.
Boom. There's your match.
There's your match for Evolution. But I did like that the winner of the match basically got the women's title shot. It made the most sense.
I mean, 2 top dogs on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
Who else would you have? I guess they're just not ready for Stephanie.
They're not ready
Stephanie
for
hasn't
Stephanie.
been on Raw in weeks.
Yeah, since Money in the Bank, we haven't seen her.
Maybe she has a slight injury or something.
Maybe. Or she worked
Is she on
double
Visa?
duty, triple. I'm not sure on that one. Not positive on that one. But
Maybe she's on a visa.
yeah, so she could be.
I don't know
just
though
take
because
time
she
off.
didn't like miss any time randomly in NXT.
Yeah, but it was my favorite match of the night.
Yeah,
I
it
was
was a great
upset Raquel didn't win, but my biggest annoyance was Roxanne got involved and she still didn't win.
Yeah.
It's no different than just I guess because Rhea has that plot armor of she is the ultimate competitor in the ring. It's going to take a lot more than just Roxanne, which is like a freaking fly on an elephant type theory. She's just going to swat her off and keep going.
Yeah.
So it's fine the way they booked it. I just was like, you really didn't need Roxanne
Yeah.
at that moment. Give Raquel and Rhea that whole moment alone.
But ultimately, for how good the match was, I can get past it.
Agreed. Yeah, I agree with that.
So, straight from that to the other non-implication match.
My least favorite match.
I'm going
of
to
the
knock
night.
this one out quick.
Yep.
Sami Zayn beat Karrion Kross.
Yes, he did.
It was just a match.
It was a match.
Karrion Kross obviously isn't done with Sammy because he attacked him on Raw.
Yep.
So we're still doing it. I don't have anything else to say. That's it.
I don't disagree with you. I was watching the show with one of my friends who doesn't keep up constantly with wrestling. And Cross came out, which granted, he hasn't seen any of the social media promos and all that. He didn't see the big promo post WrestleMania and all that. And he said, I wish this was anybody else because Karrion Kross is just boring. And I was like, it's not necessarily even that he's boring. Kross is just, they never gave him really a character. He's just
it's not that he didn't have a character. It's that he came back with the character, and then every single thing he did was watering it down. Watering it down.
So his character's not
So now his character
a
is
strong
just
character.
Angry guy who wants better booking but still doesn't do anything for it.
Exactly. So then you have him go against Sammy, who wasn't going to lose that match. It's like I said during the predictions, if you're going to build Cross, let the dude win. He's got to win something.
The best thing for him was the final testament, especially letting them beat the Wyatts. I know a lot of people hated that, but I actually thought that was the best thing you could have done for that whole situation.
At that point in time,
and then they just fired the
fired everybody else and
kept Scarlett, I guess, to keep Karrion happy. She doesn't do anything.
I don't think she doesn't provide anything but an entrance, which I don't think the entrance is that great.
His
having
entrance
her in it
for what, his 5 entrances of the year.
Yeah, it's just I don't want to take away from anybody because, like I said a couple weeks ago, they get in the ring and do it. We don't. It's a lot easier
I'm not
for us
gonna
to
say
sit
he's
back.
a bad wrestler.
I don't think he's a bad in-ring guy. It's just
and it's nothing about the guy. It's
they
just
haven't built
WWE
him.
has made me not care.
Yeah, they have
so
not
why
built him
should I
properly.
care?
Yeah, I agree with that. But Sammy Dub, we can move forward.
We can't move forward. He's still
We
stuck
can't
with
move
Karrion.
forward because he got attacked by Cross on Raw.
Yeah.
We'll hit that a little bit later in the show, though. Let's keep going forward in Night of Champions.
So another one I don't have much to say about. The Queen of the Ring finals.
I personally thought this was Jade's best showing in a singles match.
I'll say this. How many times have people been saying that every time she's had a singles match lately?
That's true.
She's learning. She's getting better.
She's progressing as a in-ring competitor. She is a physical specimen. So she has all the tools. It's just about making sure all the tools are where they need to be in the pouch and she pulls them out at the right time.
Well, also, I mean, she had been on a stage like AEW for so long.
Yeah.
Coming up to WWE, instantly thrusted on the main roster, it can be a lot. So
it can be a lot for sure. That's why they stuck her with
she's
Bianca.
still finding her footing. But as a single star at this point, I don't want to see Jade go back to a tag team person.
Agreed. I also really appreciated how behind Asuka the crowd was. Contrary to my last talk about the crowd where I said everyone's going to get popped, they did not care for Jade at all. They were
because they liked
Asuka heavy.
Which is why the Jade win doesn't feel like that crazy because the fans didn't want it.
Yeah.
But as somebody watching the product with American crowds most of the time, the Jade win's good. I love that she wore like storm gear
was
with
sick.
the big yellow X.
Yeah,
and
the
stuff.
storm gear was sick.
Yeah.
I'm glad she got.
That's the women have to wear the full body outfits at Saudi.
Do something with
when
it.
they do something like that. That's when it's great. That's easily the coolest Saudi gear I've ever seen.
We saw two of the best female Saudi gears of all time this weekend because
did
we
you
had
like Rhea's.
No, I really liked how Tiffany's was like a race car driver.
Becky did like a race car kind of look like 2 years ago when she was feuding with Trish. She was wearing all yellow.
Yeah, I do remember that. Gear. Yeah, I just thought it fit Tiffy. I don't know. I guess because it just said Tiffy time all over. It's
like a Barbie with a race car outfit.
Yeah, exactly. It was Barbie with a race car outfit, so that was cool. Not much to say about the match. The match was what it was.
Yeah, I mean, it was Asuka being Asuka, Jade being Jade. They had some good reversals and stuff, and the right person won.
Absolutely.
I predicted it from the start of the tournament.
Agreed.
You predicted it from
Jade
the start
was going to
of the
win this tournament no matter what, hands down. That's about it. Yeah. I mean, I would have been fine if Asuka had won it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have been upset. That means we would have gotten Asuka year.
Yeah, but Jade won it. She's on to face Tiffy at SummerSlam. We both called that match correctly. That's about all we could really say about that one.
And for the end of our Night of Champions, we're going to the beginning of the actual show.
Yes, we are.
Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes. I'm going to guess you have some stuff to say about it.
Cody Rhodes, I get he has plot armor. I get he's the babyface, and I get that WWE is going to do whatever they can to keep him as the prominent figurehead. We said it earlier. The RKO is the most devastating move in the in wrestling. It should be booked that way.
Cody Cutter?
You kicked out of 2 RKOs. I've got a problem with that, especially when one was a clean catch out of the air.
Yeah,
that's always should be the match finisher. The Cody Cutter, Randy was selling it kind of how Jay sold it, just kind of falling with it. But because Randy's so much taller and a bigger guy, it just kind of looked weird the way he sold it.
Yeah.
I didn't hate the match in the beginning.
My biggest gripe was the back injury. They did it so early into the match.
Agreed.
That the selling of the back injury, and he wasn't even selling it by the end, but still, for the majority of the match, it just made it so hard to watch. Because everything Randy did was in slow motion.
Yeah.
Because
he was selling it.
I liked actually seeing Cody go after the back. Yeah. Seeing Cody like really brutalize Randy's back. That's playing into Cody Rhodes is a heel. He is a heel. He's always been a heel.
Agreed.
But what Cody did with it, fine. But they did it so early in the match that the match was just the slowest thing to watch ever. Especially when, a finisher got hit. It's finally over. No, here's 5 more minutes because you got to kick out of the RKO.
Yeah. Didn't appreciate, which Randy kicked out of a Crossroads too. It wasn't a one-sided affair. But the Crossroads just is nowhere near as devastating.
It always
as
takes
RKO.
50 Crossroads to win the match.
And then I get what they were, I guess, trying to portray with the whole Randy taking the turnbuckle cover off.
But like Cody had been doing heelish stuff that whole match.
Yeah.
Why does Randy start acting like a heel?
And then,
especially when the Saudi crowd was crazy for Randy. Didn't care about Cody.
Oh, yeah. On SmackDown.
People at this point only care about the entrance for Cody. They cheer him during a promo. They cheer him during the entrance. Yeah. During a match, they don't care.
Yeah, it's not as crazy as it
and
used
it's because
to be.
of his moveset. His moveset's trash.
Moveset's very boring.
He needs to fix it.
Randy Orton's the Apex Predator. And on Cody's best day, I don't think he can truly beat Randy in a match if they're going straight up hard. Mm-hmm. I'm a Randy fan. I'm not even mad that I got the prediction wrong, because I guess I led that one more so with my heart than actual thought process of Cody as plot armor.
Hey, if I were booking it, you picked the right choice. But yeah,
Randy Orton deserved that dub. Randy Orton getting pushed armpit first into the turnbuckle, which led to him having the most devastating
Not even back.
injury.
Like, you saw the back the whole time. You don't even push his back into the turnbuckle.
No different than the Cena Punk match. The ending just felt sloppy. And that's...
I think the whole match felt sloppy, but... I don't know. We're getting Cody versus Roman at Mania. SummerSlam.
Cody Roman? Again?
Cody
That'd
Cena.
be awesome.
Cody Cena.
Maybe
so
Roman will finally beat him again.
We're getting Cody Cena again.
Too early.
I don't have much more to say until we see Cena and Cody again on SmackDown. There was nothing on Raw, so
we'll need a build up.
There's been no story.
Yeah, that I can end it there too. Yeah. It was what it was.
So that was Night of Champions.
That was Night of Champions. So SmackDown before, we had the 3 title matches.
The 3 title matches. Give it up for the GOAT, Julia.
Yeah.
Finally getting her hands on gold.
I would just say, watching that match, not that Zelina can't do stuff in the ring, you could tell that match was hardly rehearsed and that there were definite moments where Julia was either waiting to make sure she was getting in the perfect spot for Zelina or really making Zelina look good in a sell or helping her through a move.
The problem was Julia was trying to keep Zelina looking good the whole time.
Agreed. Julia at that point, after about halfway through the match, she should have just turned it on. If you're going to win anyways, like I get you have X amount of time you've got to fill and all that, but at that point, just start dog walking her because Julia could dog walk.
The fans didn't want to see I wrote it down. Not a single sound was made when Zelina entered. The fans wanted to see what
Zelina's fit.
I can't remember it. The Python.
Listen, it was King Cobra.
The King Cobra.
I will say this much.
That was bad.
I will say this much. The thought was cool because the tail piece didn't look bad, like coming back behind her and trailing her. But whoever made this paper mache King Cobra,
it looked like a middle school play.
It was bad. I felt bad for Zelina. Like looking at it, I was like, "Oh, internet's going to eat this up because this was botched." It was
the
bad.
worst thing is, just looking at how the gear was, it looked like normal gear that she was wearing something black
her
under.
gear
So
was
she's
fine.
gonna keep wearing it.
Yeah, the gear was fine.
She needs to become like the next Jake the Snake.
That'd be sick. Yeah, no, because she had like the snake scales like kind of patched out. I was like, okay. Can we lose the hood? Can we lose the tail? It was bad. But yeah, no. In terms of the match, it was a one-sided affair. It wasn't shown that way in the ring, but it was literally like 80% Julia, 20% Zelina in terms of how the match was. Julia, we both had her winning. As you said last week, rip the Band-Aid off the Zelina run and let's get Julia with a belt.
I'm just going to say this. I'm a glazer at this point. Julia is in my top 3 favorite women in this company.
Okay.
I cannot, I hope this run is like a banger. And then the second she loses it, pull a Gunther. Put her right in the world title picture.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I'm with that.
Let's get Julia versus Charlotte. U.S. title.
We're probably going to wait on that for a little bit because of the whole Alexa storyline, but although it could play into the storyline because Charlotte's losing everything, Julia could beat her and it wouldn't
I just want to see Julia have a
real
straight
opponent.
Up match.
Yeah.
Not even that other people aren't real opponents.
Yeah,
a straight up match where they can go out there and improvise and make it look great.
Agreed. So yeah, we had Julia get her hands on the women's U.S. title on SmackDown. We can hit the tag match next because
there's not much to say. I mean, they were having a match, the Wyatts versus the
Street Profits,
and then just every tag team comes out and gets involved, and it's a DQ. Like I predicted.
Yeah, you did predict that.
Well, I didn't predict that that's how the DQ would happen.
Yeah, no, but you did predict that they would retain the titles basically through a DQ.
Yeah.
Again,
it was the Profits hitting Profit moves. It was the Wyatts hitting Wyatt moves.
Too much of a regular match, though, for how you're booking. No different than the week before against Motor City Machine.
At this point, we just had to accept that the Wyatts are just wrestlers, and the other 3 are just managers.
Agreed. No,
like the only 2 that are going to wrestle are the 2 in the tag division, and the other 3 are just going to exist.
I don't care enough about the faction to even have an upsetting feeling about that. It's just looking at it from trying how I would book it.
Yeah.
If you're trying to display in one way and then you're not doing it in the... It's like I explained to my friend while we were watching. yes, all the promos and the backstage segments play a very big role in the world of wrestling, but it's called wrestling for a reason.
But they're barely
the story should be told in
any
the ring.
promos and backstage for the Wyatts.
Yeah,
It's literally just the Wyatts attacked us so they get a tag team title match.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the only time you see him for the night.
I thought Angelo Dawkins was impressive in the match.
I have
went beast
always
mode,
said
and I was here for
people get so hyped for Montez that they
yeah.
overlook Angelo.
I've loved Angelo.
Especially now that
Yeah.
he's lost a lot of weight and can move a bit quicker.
Yeah.
Angelo Dawkins is just as good as Montez.
Even when he
Ford.
had the weight on him, like he would still
he was moving.
moving around the ring.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a match.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of interference on the outside, and it turned into a big turmoil, knockdown, drag out.
We're gonna get a big ladder match or something at
Yeah.
SummerSlam,
Yeah.
I would assume. All the teams, Baby will get like a big team V,
Yeah.
like group V group match,
Yeah.
and then the Wyatts come out and break it all up or something. But
Yeah, I will say
I'll say this: if we're sticking it in this division,
no. I was gonna say,
No.
save that. Oh,
I know you liked the match, but since you have nothing else to do with them, if you're going to do a big ladder match, let Rey Fenix and Andrade be a tag team in it.
oh, I'm here for that. I was gonna say this wasn't even the best tag match on the show.
Mm-hmm.
We can get into that later. Let's hit the rest of what we need to hit. But yeah, on Andrade and Rey Fenix should be a tag team.
Like
because
you don't have anything else to do with them because the mid card titles. I'm
Wrapped
not going to
up.
say stuck because it's
it's
in a good spot.
yeah, it's
but
intertwined in the
in a
bloodline.
very big
Yeah.
story right now that's not going to include Andrade or Rey Fenix.
Agreed.
So let them have a spot to do something.
For sure. And
then there was another one I don't have. They did a good job. Tiffany versus Nia. They
did a good job.
I
For
liked
sure.
seeing it be a street fight and literally, I mean, Falls Count. Not Falls Count anywhere. Last Man Standing.
Last man standing. Yeah,
And
Last
they were
woman
just
standing.
like, let's just pull out like 1,000 weapons and just wait. Like they
Yeah.
barely did any real moves. It was just like doing stuff with weapons, which
Yeah.
I'm perfectly fine with because we've seen their normal matches 100 times.
I think the match was perfect for being like the ending.
It's a good
of it.
SmackDown main event.
It was a good SmackDown main event. I think in the beginning, not at all towards like the middle or the end of the match, but like in the very beginning, I just felt like because they knew it was going to be such a long, drawn out thing, some of the moves that Nia would like kind of lazily hit her and then like count.
I love that. Like that's the most how she set up the table and then just fell.
Oh, that was sick.
That's
No.
great.
I'm talking
I
about,
love
like,
that.
Like literally, I can't remember the exact moment, but like she maybe just like hit her with her hip or something. Like it was so lazy, but it made Tiffy fall, and she's just like.
That's the thing
count.
about Nia Jax, though.
Yeah.
she's the laziest wrestler. It's like it's the
part
thing
of the
that
character.
you gotta like about.
Yeah,
her.
yeah. I don't disagree.
Like when she swings a chair, she's just like she
Yeah,
doesn't even want to do it. It's
yeah.
just like I'm just gonna because I don't feel like putting in the effort,
for sure.
and she'll still get wins. Like,
Yeah.
it's just funny.
Yeah, but like.
At this point, Nia Jax is just a character.
And then she turned it on though. Like everything else throughout the match was like a solid hit or a solid connection
Mm-hmm.
or the fall through the table. Yes, it looked like a lazy way to do it, but like she's just
the fall
straight
through
up
the table
falling
was
through
amazing.
the table.
That's one of my favorite table spots in a long time.
Yeah, it was hype. It was hype. But it was overall it was a good match. Never did
Naomi
I
came out and
Yeah.
they stopped her. and
Yeah,
You're gonna get that every time. Let's calm it down.
agreed.
If you're gonna have her hold it for like a month or two more, I don't know how long. Don't have her come out for every match.
Yeah,
Don't
agreed.
do the Damian Priest.
Please, don't
That's all
do
I can
the
say
Damian
about
Priest.
that.
But congrats, Tiffy Time. I loved her gear. Her and I both did really well in the match. The main event was.
Let's end the story. Done.
Yeah. No, we
I don't know who
need
you're
to-
gonna have Tiffany face at Evolution, but it can't be Nia.
Agreed. But yeah, it was a good conclusion to SmackDown leading into Night of Champions. And then post Night of Champions, we had Raw. The one match to cost the clean sweep.
I'm gonna say this: one, the clean sweep was gone. Two, every single episode, our biggest thing has been we love the New Day.
Absolutely.
Do you know who I love more than the New Day?
Finn Balor.
My favorite wrestler of all time, Finn Balor.
Yes.
Was this the right decision? Probably not. But you know what? As a Finn Balor fan,
yeah, for
we
sure.
take what we can get. Tag titles back on him. Judgment Day draped in gold.
One of his like
every
4
member
wins of
holding
the year.
one.
Yep.
It's not that it's even 4 wins of the year. Everybody's always throws around the stat. Finn Balor hasn't won in 100 days. Finn Balor hasn't won in a year.
Yeah.
Y'all fail to realize that since halfway through the Judgment Day, he's been almost solely a tag team guy.
Yeah.
4 tag team title reigns since he's been with the Judgment Day,
sure.
2 with Damian, 2 with JD.
Yeah.
He's been a tag team guy.
Yeah.
In over half of those matches, especially when he's with JD, he gets the pin because they end it with the coup de grace.
For sure.
So, I mean, I like to see it. I know I said I wanted the New Day to have a 6,000-day reign.
Yeah.
I don't care. Finn Balor's turn.
Personally, both of us going into the match, there was no way Judgment Day was winning the match.
And they won. Clean.
Yeah. Clean win.
And the fans loved them.
Absolutely. But after the match, it made perfect sense. The clarity hit.
Yeah.
No different than Cody beating Randy. The clarity hit. He has plot armor. The clarity of...
It was just like this was the starting point of a story I didn't think we were getting to.
Right move in terms of story.
I don't think this would happen if Liv didn't get injured.
Agreed.
I think Liv got injured and they were like, we're running it. That's why the tag title match felt so spontaneous. They were like, give him the match, give him the belts.
This match was a very good match.
Great match.
Yeah, both sides.
Carried by the fans. The fans going ballistic for a pointless division. And for 4 guys who have had almost no fan ovation lately.
As of late,
it's crazy to see. The New Day were getting boos like crazy. You kind of expect it, but you don't always.
Yeah.
And Finn and JD were being cheered. Finn
After
and JD
that
were
match,
being cheered like crazy.
After that match, I don't want to hear anybody else talk crap about JD McDonough. You cheered him that night. Mm-hmm. He balled out as he does every night.
You know,
I think JD's
I don't
a great
even think
wrestler.
I heard Michael Cole complain about his big head.
No. It was just a straight up great match.
I mean, look at the 4 guys in there. Kofi Kingston.
Yeah.
One of the greatest, like, innovative high flyers.
Yeah.
Not even high flyer, but like cruising wrestlers.
Yeah.
Finn Balor, the GOAT.
First ever
JD
Universal
McDonough, who I said last week was freaking AJ Styles Jr.
Yeah.
And Xavier Woods, who's always been able to go, and now he's in the shape of his life.
Oh, yeah.
He's wearing trunks now.
Yeah. Xavier ain't playing.
Xavier pimping.
Straight pimp nowadays. Yeah.
We love the New Day.
We do love the New Day.
I love Finn Balor.
I'm upset that New Day doesn't have the belts, but I'm very happy for Finn and JD.
I wanted them to hold it forever, but also to the positive side, there was no one else for them to face.
No.
So it would have just been shuffling through the same few people.
Most positive point of it all. No Grayson Waller. With the New Day.
I'd say the most positive point was a legit win. A legit match with no interference.
My most positive point, then, I will say, no Grayson Waller with the New Day.
Now that the New Day don't have the belts,
Yeah,
they can
absolutely.
focus on that story.
For sure. But yeah, so we both got that prediction wrong.
That's what threw off the sweep, but I
do think it was a good
happier
choice.
about a match throwing off the sweep.
Yeah, no, I do think it was a good choice. I was thoroughly entertained with the match, for sure.
It's been a long time since I've been genuinely surprised by something, and I will say, sadly, I got it spoiled on social media before I watched the match, but still, seeing it on social media was like, they did that?
Yeah, no,
like a real legit surprise was really nice.
I will say I really liked my favorite spot, which there was a lot of great spots in the match, but I really liked when JD like grabbed Xavier and just like held him down for Finn to hit the coup de grace.
Oh yeah,
before Xavier rolls out
and
and
then
smacks JD. Yeah,
I loved how the end was just like so clean. Kofi's on the outside, swing blade to Kofi. Kofi's out. JD does something to Xavier. Finn gets up, coup de grace to Xavier. Win.
Yeah, JD took him out, or JD moonsaults, and then immediately followed by the coup de grace. Yeah, it was 1, 2, 3. No one's kicking out of it, and I was happy with it for sure.
I'd like to see a SummerSlam probably. Maybe Creed Brothers. You know, it'd be a banger.
Speaking of Creed Brothers, we can move forward into
I
some
don't
of
want
the.
to hear your crap on
No,
this.
we can move forward into some of the other smaller.
Now we're in
minor
dilly-dally
things.
time.
Yeah.
We can talk about whatever we want.
Take a few minutes. I do want to highlight one thing specifically in terms of Raw before we get into the Creed
we can
Brothers.
hit the main event too at some point. But
yeah, I really want to
stuff.
say, because we didn't talk about it last week at all because we had Night of Champions. Gunther cut a great promo on Goldberg, even though he wasn't in the building.
Goldberg. I love how he says
killed Goldberg last week. Literally just kind of regurgitated what he said last week again this week. But both times I'm like, oh yeah, I'm here for it. I can't wait for Gunther to get in the ring. I really hope he destroys Goldberg.
I love that. I am not afraid of what's left of Bill Goldberg.
Yeah, no. Last week, I think he said, I see a 58-year-old one-trick pony, and I'm about to just destroy I think he called like the mythology or whatever
how
behind
he talks.
it. Yeah, no.
Crazy that he had to have a designated mic person, Ludwig.
Agreed.
Gunther's such a good promo.
Agreed.
And he was like, you're not capable to take my belt. He knows he's already won the match.
Yeah.
He has already won the match.
I don't disagree. I'm going to be very upset if he doesn't win the match.
I loved how he's like, I am so capable of beating him in 3 minutes.
3 minutes,
that I want to make it last
forever. Make him suffer, break him down. Yeah. No, Gunther's doing great work, which then we had a Seth interruption.
He was, no, because Gunther was like, I'm already past Goldberg.
Yeah, so who's
my next challenger?
Yeah. And then we get Seth's music hitting. Seth came down to the ring.
Custom briefcase.
Loved it. The black and gold. I'm here for it. I'm here for the new briefcase.
Is there any custom briefcase you like more than Seth Rollins' custom briefcase?
I liked Senior Money in the Bank.
Senior Money in the Bank.
I'm a big purple guy, too.
Is my favorite.
Yeah.
Aside from RVD. His briefcase was so clean. But that was before it had like the specific logo. It was a black briefcase, spray painted RVD logo on the back of it, spray painted Mr. Money in the Bank. It's all blue and green and stuff.
I really like on Seth's briefcase how the O is his symbol that he's been wearing on his chain lately. But
all blacked out.
Yeah,
fit the group.
which fits the group absolutely. And then
a little too much gold for me, but
I think the gold
is Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I mean it's Money in the Bank. A and B. Seth Rollins is never not going to be in that title picture, so it makes sense for who he is. But yeah, I like the briefcase. And then when Seth gets down there, he starts talking about how he didn't fly to Saudi Arabia to cash in on Cena. He flew out there to make sure he holds up his promise that he made when Punk first got in the company or came back to the company. While he's breathing, CM Punk will not win a world title. And then we get the CM Punk entrance. Which
they just start fighting.
Yeah, I mean, Gunther's just standing there. Which I do have a problem with the segment because Seth runs away, stands up at the top of the crowd. CM Punk's just standing in the ring, yelling at each other from the top of the stairs to the ring. And then Punk gets down off the ropes, and Gunther goes to grab him.
I think like to say something.
Like,
to him
just to be like,
just
hey,
like to stop him from walking past.
Yeah,
him.
like, hey, one, you interrupted me probably, but two, I'm the champ around here. Show me a little respect. Punk pushes Gunther down, and then Gunther just sits there. Like, Gunther, get up, dude. You just talked all this crap about killing Goldberg. Go rip Punk's head off or something.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been... I wanted Gunther to have more reaction, but the moment wasn't for Gunther. Punk walks out, and at the top of the stairs, Seth is gloating how Punk ran out, and then LA Knight and him fight.
A good little fight throughout the concourse of the building. Yeah. Seth gets away.
Yep.
Sammy got... So the main event was Penta and Sammy versus the Brawns. Mm-hmm. I was so confused that after Sammy got beat up, LA Knight didn't just take his spot.
Step into the match. Yeah.
But I liked how Penta was like, Sammy, you still good? And Sammy was like, let's do it.
Let's do this.
And then they get whooped.
He did the...
Yeah, he was like...
Yeah, and then when they both did the...
Yeah, I
walk in the ring. That was sick. Yeah,
the match itself was just them hitting their usual stuff.
Yeah, no, the match was what it was.
It was a Monday Night Raw main event. It was a Monday Night Raw
main event. Absolutely. Through and through, it was a good match.
You've been complaining that the Seth faction can't win? They won.
Yes, thank God. Let's get a double on their side. Like we said earlier, talking about the Cross thing, Cross jumped Sammy in the middle of the episode of Raw, hit him with a metal pipe. Whoop-de-doo. Okay. Sammy still got medically cleared in the same night. But going back to the masterclass of selling we had with Jay a couple weeks ago, Sammy held his ribs getting in the ring, and then that was it.
There was
no call back to the fact that Karrion Kross.
Even Michael Cole was like, if you wear that wrap, that's a clear target.
No. The wrap slid down at one point. Yeah, he got back in the ring, and it looked like he wasn't even wearing the wrap.
They didn't care.
Yeah, no. I wish... some wrestlers would just sell through. Not that Sammy's not capable of selling through, because Sammy's a good seller. I just feel like it wasn't the
I feel like
big point of the match.
Literally just didn't care.
Yeah, it wasn't going to be a story point in the match really because of everyone else involved.
Yeah.
So there was no point in having it be like a.
The problem is Sami Zayn's in two different stories right now, so he's
a Swiss Army knife.
Prioritize one or the other.
He can be in whatever story.
And the Karrion Kross is Not a priority.
I don't disagree with that. But if you're going to push him, make him a priority. It's all about how they're booking. It's not necessarily a roast on Cross. It's WWE's booking of Cross that has led to this.
I mean, we already said it earlier.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Yeah, I have no care for it because you've never made me care for it.
I'm supposed to care about it all, but I don't.
Agreed. But yeah.
But you know someone I do care about?
Who?
My boy, El Grande Americano.
Yes, sir.
Is back for the first time since Money in the Bank. I love to see him back.
A man
My legend.
dressed as El Grande Americano was there.
What are you on right now?
I am not prescribing to the theory that Chad Gable is El Grande Americano because we have no idea who.
Well, Chad Gable's hurt. El Grande's back.
Chad's hurt. And the first time we ever saw El Grande Americano, we saw him and Chad backstage at the same time. Yeah. So we know it's not Chad Gable.
El Grande's been around since like the 70s.
The man in the mask last night was Ludwig Kaiser.
I won't put up for it.
I'm going to say this definitively.
Can we get a nipple check on
as
Ludwig?
an El Grande fan, because I am an El Grande fan, that was not my El Grande Americano,
Look, okay.
and you can't convince me it was.
He might have looked a little different.
A little.
But when Randy Orton came back and he was all jacked up, nobody tried to say it wasn't Randy. When AJ came back, he was all jacked up. Nobody tried to say it wasn't AJ.
That's true.
He's been out since Money in the Bank. That's a whole month. Who am I to say that it's not the same guy?
As Chad Gable said,
He might have just gotten taller, leaner, a little more shredded, and a little Ludwig Kaiser-like.
He is the greatest luchador in the world, and he has a busy schedule.
He can change his bod.
Yeah. He's been working probably 6 matches a week right now. I wouldn't be shocked if he's in the best shape of his life.
In random dark spots in Mexico that you wouldn't see.
Yeah, but it is Ludwig Kaiser. This person we saw, not El Grande.
Could be. Of like the 50 options of people who could be impersonating him, which probably isn't because it's just El Grande Americano, it could be Ludwig.
I'm
but
just
like,
saying.
I doubt it.
Listen, I don't like imposters.
I think it's Omos.
I love El Grande. Don't feed me a fake El Grande that's Ludwig Kaiser.
Hey, I'm just saying though, if it is a fake, when the Sin Cara swapped, even though nobody cared about Sin Cara's, when the Sin Cara swapped, you still just talk about Sin Cara as Sin Cara.
Sure.
This is just El Grande. It might be a different guy. It might not.
It might not.
But it's still El Grande Americano.
I will concede to that fact that at the end of the day, if he walks out there and puts on a match, I'm going to be cheering for El Grande, whoever's under that mask. But other than that, we kind of hit Raw throughout the recap.
Well, what about Lyra and Bailey?
I was going to say, in terms of Lyra Bailey, they had the one-on-one match. Winner gets Becky.
Both shoulders down. So predictable.
Here's all I'm
fight
saying.
after.
All I'm going to say on that match is you had so many roll-ups and reversals and all that, which is both their style right now. But you had the one point in the match where Bailey superplexed Lyra, and they both went to hook their legs up, and that was a double pin.
Yeah.
That should have been the way it ended instead of Bailey
pin into pin into
in
weird
a pin
thing.
into a pin. I didn't like the ending, like how it looked.
Theoretically, the pin does work.
Yes,
but ultimately, it was a weird way to go about it.
Yeah,
it would have been so much better. I would have just let them double count out it or something.
Yeah, nah. I mean,
double submit. That'd be kind of cool. Both tap at the same time.
Yeah,
be hard to sync up
for sure. It was a good match, but I just thought the visual of the ending was way worse than what it could be.
Yeah. No, I agree. But I'll just
we're gonna get the triple threat.
Seeming that we'll get the triple threat at Evolution. And the other Evolution news is now that Roxanne is a tag team champion, we're gonna get a tag team title fatal 4-way with them, a team from Raw, SmackDown, and NXT.
Yep.
I wrote down who I think the teams will probably be. I think the SmackDown team's gonna be Charlotte and Alexa. I think the Raw team, sadly, is going to be Natalya and Maxine.
I'm here for it. The boat.
Or, I mean, put the Kabuki Warriors back together. Actually, don't. Kyrie's whole thing was like, I'm coming for all the gold.
Yeah, I have one thing to say about that, but
give it a mid-card belt.
Continue.
And the NXT team, I think, is going to be Zarya and Sol Ruka.
I'm fine with that pick. I'm fine with the Natalya and Maxine pick. if we're looking at that match, and those are your three, including the Roxanne and Raquel, Charlotte and Alexa's way too OP.
Oh yeah, I agree.
So
put it on Zarya and Sol though. Send them to NXT. Give Sol Ruka 3 titles.
Give me Michin and B-Fab as the SmackDown tag team. Or the Secret Harvest. I'd be fine with Doudrop and Alba Fire. In fact, I feel like Evolution is like the perfect place for them two to team up, like in a solid showing. But it's probably gonna be Michin and B-Fab. Feed fodder to Raquel and Roxanne is what they're gonna do. So that's my pick. Michin and B-Fab. I told you. In terms of picking, you'll beat me every time. But that's my pick.
No, I'm not. I'm upset that you thought about them.
Literally 2 weeks ago. Literally 2 weeks ago, Michin and B-Fab were backstage talking to Jade about Queen of the Ring, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go talk to Pierce or Aldis. Yeah, we're gonna go talk to Aldis about these tag titles."
If that's truly the match they end up giving us, bring back pre-shows.
I agree with that.
Bring back
statement.
P-shows.
P-shows. Yeah, no,
they don't deserve
pre-shows.
to be on the card.
But yeah,
They
no.
don't.
That was the other Evolution piece of news. Aside from that tag match, is the Battle Royal. Winner will get to face for. They didn't specify.
I'm gonna assume it's your brands.
Yeah,
like King of the
for
Ring.
one of the women's world titles at Clash in Paris, which is a PLE down the road. So we've got Evolution's gonna have a lot of implications on the women's division overall.
I'm gonna say if they're keeping EO the champ after the Rhea stuff,
They should
let Asuka win the Battle Royal.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
If they're changing champs, let someone from SmackDown win the Battle Royal or something.
I wouldn't be shocked though if like we get a Stephanie win in the Battle Royal.
I think it's gonna be hard because you're gonna have bigger names than
Or
Stephanie
Nikki.
in it. Nikki, will
maybe they
probably
put
be
Nikki in the
it.
Battle Royal and she wins it.
Clash in Paris seems like a random enough show
To
get
have her be
final
in the world title match. Yeah.
She said hey to EO, but Nikki Tiffany seems like a better match. But Tiffany probably won't be champ by then.
Yeah. That's down the road. We'll get to that later.
There's no way of telling what's going on. Then.
But other than everything we just hit, the only other big shout out I have, which we kind of hit on, is the Andrade Rey Fenix DIY match. It was my favorite match of the weekend. I just thought it was an absolute banger.
That's your match of the week?
Yeah, no. If it made me think of like, you see the old interviews of the Dudleys, Edge and Christian and Jeff and Matt talking about how they wanted to go out there and steal the show with TLC. It's like those four guys just got together and said, let's just go steal the show.
Yeah.
And they did. They put on a banger.
See,
Andrade is my wrestler of the week, and it might stay that way for a long time.
I'm going to say that same exact thing about four other guys, the New Day and the Judgment Day.
Absolutely.
That's my match of the week.
They were both tag matches were bangers.
But I will give wrestler of the week to my tribal chief,
Solo Sikoa.
the new U.S. champion, Solo Sikoa.
Yep.
Also, two things, quick. Sheamus and Rusev had a good match.
Yo, I forgot about it. Yeah.
The League of Nations, they mentioned Alberto Del Rio. Gotta love at the end of these episodes, if there's a League of Nations that mentioned, that's when I'll mention it.
Yeah, no. I think
I wrote down the only way I can describe this match: Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Yeah, no. I put Big Boy Slapping Meat. That's because both of their styles are just destroy each other, which they did. Like, I get it was slow paced at times. I get it was just
it's slow paced, but when your
fest.
hit is like getting a giant anvil thrown at you, it can be slow paced.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a great match. I'm
so happy that we're back. Like, I'm happy that we have somebody again who's ending matches always with a submission.
Submission, yeah.
The Accolade is one of the best submission moves.
Yeah, no, Sheamus kind of not fell off because fans still love him, but they just kind of don't utilize Sheamus anymore.
They utilize Sheamus for non-title feuds super often, which he's good at.
He's great at. But I think if you watched Raw, the tag match had the most excitement.
Yeah.
But that was one of the best matches we've seen in a while on a Raw.
Yeah. And the other thing I'm going to say is probably some of the happiest I've been is SmackDown's going back to 2 hours.
Yes, the announcement was made.
It's going to make life so much easier.
Yes, way less filler, wasted time on SmackDown. I think your sweet spot is 2 hours.
Yeah.
And the fact that Raw isn't even 3 hours anymore, it's like 2 hours and 30
It's crazy that
minutes.
Raw, which at this point, I think there was all the discussions about SmackDown being the best show for so long, Raw is so much better.
Currently, as it sits, absolutely.
But like the fact that you have Raw, the better show, the flagship show, being better with half an hour less.
Yeah,
It was just time to, and their roster's bigger.
Yeah.
It was time to switch back to 2 hours.
You've got technically the bigger names on SmackDown being Cody, Cena.
But your biggest names are on all shows whenever they want to be.
Agreed. As it sits right now, there's really no brand separation.
The brand split exists for anybody who's not involved in a top tier feud.
Yes.
That's how it works. And they've never showed it, but I'm sure in storyline you can just say, oh, the GMs were like, oh, this will benefit us both by having these feuds on our show. Mm-hmm. But like, if you're in a feud with Cena or Seth or Roman or something like that, you're going to be on both shows. And that's just how it is now.
Agreed.
Which I'm fine with. It's the WWE title. It can be on both shows. I don't really care.
Yeah. But yeah, in terms of the overall weekend, it was a solid weekend of wrestling. If you're including, I'm including Raw on the weekend. Night of Champions, I would never say it was a disappointment.
Yeah.
It was a regular pay-per-view. It wasn't like one of those, oh my God, that was amazing. SmackDown was actually a pretty solid show, I felt, and so was Raw. Yeah. I thought everything kind of lived up to a solid weekend of wrestling.
What more can you ask for a Saudi show?
Agreed. Yeah. But again, Wrestler of the Week, Andrade. Match of the Week, Andrade and Rey Fenix versus DIY. You gave it to Solo.
I'd love to give it to Julia, but I can't.
Valid.
I gotta give it to Tribal Chief.
And then you had New Day versus Judgment Day for the match of the week.
And if it wasn't them, I'd give it to Rhea Raquel.
Agreed. Yeah, if it wasn't for how much I enjoyed the Andrade match, I would have given it Rhea Raquel. They were definitely the best match on the pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so we've got looking forward to Raw and SmackDown. We've got 2 more Raws and 2 more SmackDowns before
Evolution's a week from Sunday.
A week from this Sunday. So we've got 1 more Raw, 2 more SmackDowns before Evolution.
Yes.
And then Saturday Night Main Events.
So we've got
that
a lot of
that weekend. Yeah.
We have 1 more normal episode before predictions.
Again. Yeah. Okay, cool. But yeah, so that's basically the breakdown of the week. You got anything else you need to add on top of that? Or
shout out Wade Barrett. Shout out Julia.
Shout out Wade Barrett. Shout out Julia. Shout out Andrade.
Shout out Solo. Shout out Finn. Shout out JD.
Shout out Randy for losing a match he should have never lost. Anybody else we're shouting out before?
El Grande's back.
Shout out Ludwig Kaiser wearing an El Grande mask.
Well, no.
Yeah. Shout out JD McDonough.
I already said it.
Oh, okay.
Xavier Woods.
Oh, always. Kofi Kingston, for sure. Shout out Big Bronson Reed.
I don't know if he earned that this week.
So he tried to hit some tsunamis.
I love Bronson, but...
Oh, by the way, we didn't mention Jay made the save at the end of the main event. Jay came out with a chair to make the save after the match was over.
I only got one thing to say about that.
Yeet.
4 letters, 1 word. Stop.
Yeah, I agree. Solo killed it with that one. True comedian at heart, just like his brothers. But yeah, all right. We'll take it home then. Thank you, everyone who tuned in to the Heel Tactics podcast, whether you're watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify, Amazon, or I think iHeartRadio is one of the other ones we're on. We appreciate anyone who views, anyone who listens, anyone who likes, subscribs, follow us.
We're going to try to fix the link tree to have everything in it.
Yes, link tree we're trying to update. And we posted a few clips on social media. We should be pushing some more stuff out on social media. We're going to be getting
some major TikToks going now.
Yeah.
We've got it figured out.
Yeah, TikTok, Instagram. We're going to try to push those out. And probably, I would say, post the Evolution weekend, because there's so much going on that week in wrestling.
Well, there will be a separate video for probably All In.
Yeah.
And if you want to do a separate one for Great American Bash.
Yeah. But I'm saying in terms of like just other smaller,
other different just content,
like, yeah, the different content from just the show. It'll still be wrestling oriented, but it's just
whenever we have an idea, we'll do it.
Yeah, we're gonna try to start pushing some of that stuff out post that weekend, because I feel like that's just gonna be such a big push to get through that. But other than that, we're kind of hitting our stride. I feel like in terms of timing, we're getting the timing more cut down. Yeah. We're trying to stay.
We're hitting our priorities, and then we're hitting other stuff
We're trying to stay on task, give y'all the main points that we need to hit throughout the week so that you, whether you tune into Raw or SmackDown, know what's going on leading into the next week of wrestling. Christian is the inaugural Heel Tactics champ. He will be champ at least until Evolution. I doubt I'll take it from him then, but there's always a chance.
Saying Evolution, that's clumping and everything.
Yeah, clumping and everything.
Evolution weekend.
Yeah, Evolution weekend. I like it. So yeah, Christian will be the title will be up for grabs every pay-per-view.
Every pay-per-view.
Every time there's a prediction.
Saturday night's main event, because that's not technically a pay-per-view.
Anytime there's a predictions video,
or
basically.
PLE.
Yeah, PLE. We're bad about saying pay-per-view, but it's what we're used to. But yeah, we've got the Crown Champ after Night of Champions. We had a pretty solid week in wrestling, and we're looking forward to the next one. So please join us back next week.
For the first time in a hot minute, just a simple Raw and SmackDown episode, probably.
Yeah, it'll be a simple Raw and SmackDown. Just looking forward to that build for the final push for Evolution Weekend. And we just thank you all for joining us. Check us out again next week. We'll be back posting, I think, 11:30 a.m. on Thursdays will be the release time, basically from here on out, barring any technical difficulties or anything like that. That should always be the release time on both platforms in terms of video and podcast. If you're just doing audio like on Spotify, it's still posted at 11:30. YouTube's posted at 11:30. And yeah, thank you, everyone. Leave us any comments that you have in terms of criticism, constructive criticism, questions. And yeah, that's about it. Hope you all have a good evening, good afternoon, good day, whenever you're watching. And we look forward to seeing you back next week. Thank you.